Hey everyone, so my most recent episode of Public Freakouts Unleashed featured a clip I was sent from a TikTok user called Dilly Pickles that showed two women arguing with both an employee, it was actually the manager, of a chain restaurant they were visiting, a chain called the Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and a police officer who'd been summoned to facilitate the disagreement. The OP posted these videos with hashtags that suggested they believed the reason and the way that they were kicked out of the store was racially motivated. It was discrimination. But while normally these kinds of videos are promoted heavily and typically rally thousands of angry users to their aid, these clips created a much more controversial reception. So controversial, in fact, that OP decided eventually to turn off the comment section on TikTok for all 4 of her account's videos, including the first one that had nothing to do with this. I noticed on several cross-stitch videos supporting her that they had disabled their comments as well. In my experience, this only happens when people receive a much different reaction than they expected from the community they thought would have their back. And the bulk of the controversy seems to stem from a crucial debate over something that the OP said on the video itself. They argued back and forth with the police officer about the legality of being trespassed from the smoothie shop after having bought something, and without being presented with a reason for being told to leave. Much like the debate that took place in the comment section of my own video where I covered this debate was all over the comment section of the original TikTok videos that they posted before the comments were removed, along with another major debate over the other key point of OP's post, namely whether or not the store had displayed racism by kicking these 2 women out of the store seemingly for no reason. There's also the matter of whether or not the cop himself was acting with racial animus here. Let's dive into the footage itself first and see what we can learn as we try to get to the bottom of a burning debate. Who's really the Karen here?
And this is private property, though. But this is private property. This is private property where I just made a purchase.
Oh, but she was already here, and I asked her to leave.
And I've made previous purchases.
Not welcome in the store.
Previous purchases.
Listen, you're going to end up in jail. Both of y'all in a minute. You gotta leave.
Sir, are you telling me I'm going to jail because I'm a paying customer and I'm
No, because you're criminal trespassing. I'm asking both of y'all to leave.
Oh wait, how am I a criminal trespassing? Please tell me.
So here we've immediately established 2 key facts, right? First, we confirm that OP had just made a purchase at this store, and second, we confirm that the store has informed OP that she's been trespassed from the store in front of this police officer, which means the owner of the property and business, or a representative thereof, say a manager like this person, has formally denied you further access to the property. You'll notice that she asks the cop, "How am I criminally trespassing? Please explain it to me." And he responds by, rather clearly it would seem, explaining that the store decided to trespass them, which means it's now illegal for them to be there.
That's not saying that I'm criminal. That's not saying anything.
But I asked you to leave.
You did, and I said I was going to. I said I was going to.
You hear this woman, the manager, say, "We asked you to leave and that's all that matters." And then something I don't like happens. The video cuts for an undisclosed amount of time and picks back up further into this same argument. It wouldn't appear that much time has passed between these cuts, but I'm always suspicious of a video that was unnecessarily edited by the poster, particularly if OP's edited video was posted as part of a campaign to try and get the other person in trouble, which, obviously that's what this was. We can't make much of that on its own right now, but it's something that's certainly worth noting for later. So the video cuts, and here we hear a bit more from the woman while being pressed to provide an explanation for why she wants them to leave. That seems to be what OP is after here, is the reason why.
So, because you said I'm a criminal trespassing
manager, and I asked her to leave. She's not welcome in our store.
Ma'am, why did you ask her?
You don't even have no reasonable explanation.
Oh, wait.
Not welcome in the store.
You don't have any reasonable explanation.
Because of the way it is. Because
What's the reasonable explanation of why I have to leave?
You got 5 minutes? 5 seconds? No, you need to back up.
So here she continues asking the store manager for a reason, and the manager seems to be trying to get to that reason regardless of whether she legally needs to or not, but she gets interrupted first by OP, you'll notice, and then again by the officer, who accidentally gives them 5 minutes to leave the store. I think he meant 5 seconds. But you do hear her say, because of the way, before she gets cut off each time. That's what the manager is trying to say. Because of the way you, and then she gets cut off. What could she be trying to say here?
What's a reasonable explanation of why I have to leave?
You got 5 minutes? 5 seconds? No, you need to back up.
Ooh.
She's asked to leave. She's been asked to leave.
What is you about to do?
I'm telling you, I'm fixing to put cuffs on you and escort you out.
Okay, sir, you put cuffs on my daughter?
Yes. You're going to go to jail too.
Oh,
you put hands on me.
What did I do, sir? What did I
asked
do?
to leave.
No,
You've been
no,
asked
sir.
to leave.
If I'm a paying customer.
You've been asked to leave.
If
It
I'm a
doesn't
paying
matter if you're a paying
customer.
customer.
Well, I need a refund then.
It doesn't matter.
I need a refund, sir. I need a refund. I need a refund. I am refund. I have to give you a refund. No, sir. We don't step outside if we paid money.
It doesn't matter. You don't know the law. I'm telling you, you
Oh, no,
gotta
sir.
leave.
I know the law.
No,
She
you
just
don't.
told me I
Let
had
me
to
tell you
leave
something.
because that's
You're
what she
fixing.
felt
Okay,
like.
you know what? Turn around. Put your hands behind the back.
Oh no!
You know what
Okay.
I'm doing?
You are going to.
Woo!
You know what?
I'm sorry.
What is the law?
So without getting into who's wrong between the two private parties here, it seems to me this whole time that this cop is really impatient and almost seems to be contributing to the escalation of the situation, I would say. But on the other hand, the bit of footage we just saw was a huge part of the online debate here. OP claims that the law states the store needs to present the customer a reason to trespass them after they've made a purchase, and the officer claims that actually no, a business needs no specific reason to trespass you, and them telling you to leave means you're breaking the law if you choose to stay, point blank. Essentially, you're trespassing as of right now, and I can legally remove you by any means necessary if you refuse to leave on your own. So what actually does the law say here? Let's keep watching for context clues, and then we'll put together all the legal pieces at the end. There's still a crucial second question of whether or not this business was acting with racial prejudice here, or if there was another reason OP and her mom were being kicked out.
Sir?
What is the law?
Tell me. Tell us. State it right now. State it right now. State it right now.
Sir, you have
State it right now. You about to tase my mama because she's not leaving the store.
Wait a minute.
Ooh, I swear to God, you better not tase my mama.
I am so serious. What is the law? That I need to leave
You better not tase my mama. You better not tase my mama.
Do not.
Listen to me.
So this is the end of the first clip, and full disclosure, I was sent this clip and didn't notice the part 1 at the top somehow, brain fart. I should have checked the profile on TikTok to find part 2 when I made my last video, but I do have it for you now. We learned a lot more about question 2 from this next clip, and we find out if Grumpy Cop Guy really uses that taser that he just pulled. So let's dive in.
Told you to leave.
No, she did not tell me.
What was the reason though?
not-
Why am I not allowed in the store? Please tell me why I'm not allowed in the store.
Calm your voice.
Why am I not allowed in the store?
Because
You can't even tell me that, but you want to listen to her.
no,
That's fine. That's fine. And I told. Did you even ask me what I said to
Why
her?
did
You
you
don't care. You don't care though. That's fine. No, because once we step outside, then we're not. No.
Sir,
No.
I'm a paying customer.
I don't care what you are. I told you told to
Clearly,
leave.
you don't care.
You've been
Clearly,
told to leave.
you just heard what she said and took that. That's all.
You've been told to leave.
No. You
It
don't.
doesn't-
That's not the law.
Yes, it is the law. Don't be telling me what the law is. I know what the law is.
Ooh, you better calm
I
down.
don't know who you think you are.
Explain to us the law.
Get a drug out of here in a minute.
Then
We're
play.
gonna do
Then
this.
explain.
Stop the threats. Stop the threats.
For real.
Two things here. If you were wondering who the incredibly calm guy who's involved in all of this somehow was, he just told us. He is the husband of the woman, the mom, who came back with her daughter. Also, if you're this much of a hothead and you get this easily flustered, police officer, probably not the job for you.
What are you going to do? Are you going to do
No, mama. This man. No.
My husband is a retired sergeant in the military.
Okay, so it's military. This is not the military.
It's not. But I'm telling you, sir, we know our law.
No, you don't.
Okay.
What didn't tell
You've been
us?
asked to leave. I'm telling you to leave now.
Legal rights.
Right.
So if you want to go ahead and call your sergeant, if you would like to call your sergeant, Dylan, if you can call your sergeant, sir, that'll be the best thing for us
And
to
guess
go
what?
ahead.
My supervisor's gonna tell me to put you in jail.
Wait, what was that part? Put my what in
Put you in
jail?
jail.
Wait, I thought
The
you were going to say
supervisor
something
gonna put us in
else.
jail. Put her in jail. That's what you said?
Yeah. I'm 100% positive with that.
All because Didi didn't want me in the store because I quit.
Hang on. What? Did she just say all because Dee Dee didn't want me in the store because I quit? Did I hear that right?
All because Didi didn't want me in the store because I quit.
Interesting. So here we get our first clue that maybe something else is going on here. And this is where the second discrepancy comes in that people were taking issue with in the now censored comment section. Well, the video's hashtag here heavily implies that, or multiple hashtags imply that this incident was an unprovoked bout of racial profiling on behalf of the store. We now find out that, in fact, OP worked for the store as an employee, and additionally had recently, it turns out to be just a couple days ago as we find out, had just quit her job. So this is an obvious alternative potential source of the conflict, the problem between OP and the store's management, right? There may have been some conflict between OP and the store about how she conducted herself on the job, or perhaps even the conduct that she displayed when she quit. Maybe it was provocative. We see this all the time in public freakout videos, actually. It's not exactly out of the ordinary for people, especially in fast food, high stress, low wage, fast food type places. They often have pretty heated falling outs with their work. The point is, we now have an alternative motive for the trespass order that calls OP's initial narrative into question. Let's keep watching for more context clues.
And you've been a customer here for how long?
Since January,
Okay.
obviously.
And yeah. And I hope that the customers that are in the store actually see this and witness this and put it on wherever platform you want to.
Why is she asking?
That's what we trying to figure
She
out.
basically, I quit a couple of days ago, and then she's mad about the fact that I quit.
When you quit, did you throw something?
No, I literally,
But we're a customer.
Because the manager
And the
asked you to leave?
manager.
Okay, so now 2 cops are here to handle this because that first guy didn't want to turn this into a big incident. I guess he put the handcuffs and the taser away. But did you catch what just happened? OP starts speaking with another customer who asks her why this whole thing is happening, and she says she's mad because I quit a couple of days ago, referring to the manager Dee Dee. And when the customer responds by asking her if she quit in a provocative way, did you throw something? She says, no, I literally, and then boom, the video just cuts out. Just cuts. At the second, the second that we're finally about to learn something from her explanation of the circumstances of her quitting, the video mysteriously cuts to a point later in the footage when the second cop arrives. Again, why the edit here? That was obviously information that should have, if this whole thing was fully above board, clarified your case to your audience, right? The only 2 reasons I can think of for opting to cut that part out are A, she had a legal or ethical reason she might not be able to divulge the circumstances of her quitting to the public, or B, she said something that she decided later in the editing process as she got ready to post this to TikTok for this whole shut this place down campaign type thing, didn't help her case to her audience. Let's keep going and see what else we can find.
Asked us to leave and she has not told us why.
excuse me, sir, he doesn't even know
We don't
why.
know why she asked us to leave when we're paying customers. Wait, are you the supervisor, sir?
Why are you
Why
ignoring
are
us? Why are you
not
ignoring us?
listening, sir? If we were asked to leave, can she tell us why? What is the law? If we were asked to leave, what is the law?
The law, I mean, to tell you to leave?
From a establishment where I'm a customer and I'm waiting for my order.
And there's actually no probable
and there's
cause.
no probable
There's
cause
no
to say
probable cause
you
of
can't be
why.
served.
Okay, so this is the first time that we find out that OP placed her order and had paid for it, but hadn't yet received her food. You'd be forgiven for thinking up to this point that they had already eaten the food that they ordered, and they just felt like because they were customers before that they, needed to be presented with probable cause, as she says, to get off the property. So right here, that does seem to suggest that OP had a reason, reasonable reason to be upset about this. She apparently hadn't received her order yet that she paid for, and thought it wasn't right that she had paid for the food and was being trespassed without getting her order. Interestingly, certainly seems like something worth being mad at, I would say. But I also can't help but wonder why OP would decide to go back to this place if she was having conflict with the employer who literally ran the joint, right? Doesn't, that seems a little weird.
Literally, he doesn't know, she doesn't know.
Get your finger out of my face, or I'm gonna put you on the ground.
Boy, you better calm down. You better calm down. Because I'm not
Put
the
your
one.
finger in my face again.
Shut up. I'm not playing with you. Exactly. You did it first and it's in the video, so don't even start. You did it first and it's in the video.
When I was at the register.
And just like that, the video abruptly ends. So, did they leave in handcuffs? Did they get their order? Did the manager finally get a chance to finish her sentence? The internet demanded answers, and the clip was even featured on Young Turks, where they claimed the incident was racially motivated, but didn't touch on much of the background or the conclusion. So the mother-daughter duo returned to TikTok with a final video where they tell us their side of the story. Let's see what else we can learn from them.
Hi guys, it's an update on what happened yesterday. Basically, I went to go pick up my friend at this place that I used to work at named Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And when I got there, the manager told me that I was not allowed in the establishment, or basically that I was banned from being there, even though literally she had no reason to tell me that I couldn't be there.
So you were banned because her reason was just because she didn't want you there.
Pretty much.
And she called the police.
So right off the bat, the explanation given for why she was banned from her former employer's store was because she didn't want you there. Okay, fair enough. But again, why? What was the thing that happened that both the employee and OP were cut off from saying? Because the implication OP is clearly going for here, just looking at these hashtags and everything, is that there is no reason other than racial profiling that she was being trespassed. I'm just very wary of how vague, how incredibly vague this specific and also, by the way, crucial detail of the story is. Our only hint to this point is the unfinished phrase, because of the way you... something. Could she have been trying to say the way you quit? It's not crazy, I think, to wonder that at this point, but who knows? Let's continue.
And then Dylan left. She left and came home and told me that, yeah, she called the police because she didn't want me there. And in my head, I'm like, no, you should have stayed. As a black parent of a child, I don't want her to... someone's calling the police and then the police is out looking for her, pull her over, and she's not knowing why she's pulled over because a woman felt entitled to say, you know what, I don't want you here because you quit. And now I'm going to call the police and I don't want you here. So understandably, I'm like, no, if she called the police, let's go back and get more information. But as we were going back, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get something. So we made a purchase. And when we walked in the store and we walked up to the register, I asked for the manager. She never came out. So we placed our order.
She just hid behind,
she hid at the back, I guess, or whatever.
Waiting for the police to get there.
But yeah, so when the police did get there, she
ran past
us, went outside, and then told the police officer that she did not want us in the store.
Okay, so this is big. We now have a better timeline of events. This cleared a lot of things up for me. OP is going to pick her friend up from the smoothie place, right, where she used to work, and she walks in the door. The manager tells her she isn't allowed there anymore. After that, the manager calls the police, and OP leaves. OP goes home, tells mom what happened, and mom is having none of that, so she wants to confront the manager who called the police, so she says, let's go back there and get this sorted out. So they go back, and the mom decides she wants to get a smoothie from this place while they're there, knowing full well, let's be real, that there's about to be some serious conflict at this store. So you'll forgive me for thinking that was a bit purposeful, maybe a bit provocative on purpose, perhaps, to order from the same establishment you're going to cause a ruckus at. So why else would you want to give your business to this place? That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So they go back, she goes to the counter and asks for the manager. The manager is hiding, waiting for the cops. So the mom decides to enjoy her nice smoothie while they wait. She pays for the order, and before she gets her food, the Taser happy cop shows up.
By then, we had already purchased our items, and we were waiting for it. She never told her and I anything together. I didn't even know who she was. Didn't know who she was. She walked past us and said on her phone, "I'm so happy the police is here." And I was like, "Oh, that's the manager? Is that the lady who called the police we're supposed to talk to?" So anyways, that's how that got started. But it's not that she didn't want us to be there, or her purpose, if she didn't want us to be there, basically refuse our service. Right. Her actions.
It never was a conversation, though.
It never was a conversation.
Well, legally speaking, though, there was a conversation. Initially, when she went to go pick her friend up, she was informed that she's trespassed. She's not allowed to be there. She's banned from the store. So that was the initial conversation.
It never was a conversation. Her actions.
Immediately also, when the police officer walked through the door, he didn't ask us about the situation. He did not. He literally was just like, "Y'all need to leave. Y'all need to get out."
And I was like, "Wait, no.
Y'all gone.
She wants you gone." But her actions is what have me upset. Instead of her saying, "I will refuse your service. We don't want you," her calling the police, that's the issue right there. That is where we're going to do a part 3.
So you hear her say, "We'll have to do a part 3, and then abruptly cut the video there. But as it turns out, part 3, or I guess 4, never came. That was 3 days ago, and we never got it. So we never actually do get to learn the details of the altercation or lack thereof, which led to this trespass order when she quit, the quitting debacle. At this point, we have OP saying that this was unwarranted and that this was an unprovoked, malicious action on the manager's part. And on the other hand, we have mysteriously missing footage where OP explains what happened and a cut-off sentence from the manager that says only because of the way you something. While we may not be able to discern for sure whether she was trespassed for the way she quit or the simple fact that she had quit at all, we can't forget that this was only half of the debate. The hotly discussed issue of whether or not she had the law on whether they had the law on their side is still on the table. So let's lay out the terms. Is it illegal in Texas for a business to trespass a customer from the premises without special criteria having been met beforehand? And how does that law change if a customer has paid for but not yet received their order? We know as a matter of standard law, this applies in most states, that in most cases, a business does have the right to trespass a customer or non-customer from the property without a given reason. They similarly have the right to refuse service to anyone. It's true, as one TikTok user pointed out in a response video, that people are protected from store discrimination on the basis of race or religion, but that's a matter of civil tort law and would require the aggrieved party to successfully sue the business and prove their bigoted intent. So if OP truly does believe that this was discrimination, she does have the option to sue and attempt to prove the discrimination in court, but as a matter of police enforcement, a business can tell you to leave and have police escort you off the property for any reason or no reason. I checked up on Texas law to see if they did things any differently. According to Texas Criminal Code, section 30.0.5, criminal trespass, quote, "A person commits an offense if the person encounters or remains on or in property of another, including residential land, agricultural land, a recreational vehicle park, a building," defined in 30.0.1 as any enclosed structure intended for the use or occupation as a habitation for or for some purpose of trade, manufacture, ornament, or use, and therefore covers this store, or other vehicle without effective consent, and the person 1. had noticed that the entry was forbidden, or 2. received notice to depart but failed to do so. We know from OP's story, you'll recall, that when OP went to pick her friend up from the smoothie shop and entered initially, the manager told her she was banned and called the police. So that fulfills the requirement right there that a person needed to have notice that an entry was forbidden and received a notice to depart. She got both of those by her own admission, it would seem. Though she did initially take off, she came back after being told she wasn't allowed there and made a purchase. So we can see that she was, in fact, criminally trespassing as of the moment she returned to the store. And when the manager, who is a representative of the person who owns the business, tells both of them in front of a police officer to leave, that at that point is criminally trespassing her and her mother. Her mother was technically not told initially not to return, so when she first entered the store, she was fine up until the moment that she was informed by the officer that she was trespassing, at which point she became trespassing. And there's, of course, the odd complication of the orders being taken along with their money and then being kicked out without having that commercial contract they just made with the store fulfilled, which would sort of be stealing on the store's end, wouldn't you think? Did OP ever actually get her food? Now, OP went back and forth with this with someone on TikTok who made a whole video responding to a counter comment that OP left. This is a little part of that has something to do with this.
I don't need to hear anything else. What I heard on your video that you taped was Karen, the white woman, tell you guys she doesn't want you there. You must now leave in front of the police. That's the law. Once I tell you you gotta leave, you gotta leave. All other business transactions must be handled outside of the property. If you're waiting for a refund, if you're waiting for somebody to come write you your last check, whatever the case may be, they notified you in front of the police even though they didn't have to. They didn't have to.
So according to this guy who claims to study law for a living, he believes that even if you do place an order, this is why what he just said is important. Even if you do place an order and it hasn't been fulfilled, all of those business transactions that are in motion, I guess, to put it one way, while you're being trespassed, have to be fulfilled outside of the bounds of that building that you've just been trespassed from. So that was something that had to be solved regardless off of the property. As for the restaurant, though, things have been downhill for the Smoothie chain location in question ever since this video was posted. Their Yelp has posted a notice that reviews have been temporarily suspended, and a slew of new one-star ratings contain words like discrimination and bigoted, or make direct references to the video itself. I attempted to call them, the location, for comment, but unfortunately wasn't able to get a hold of anyone. I don't even think it rang. In the end, I think it's fair to say that it's hard to point to anyone involved who was really in the right here. The taser-wielding cop should have taken it down a notch instead of being such a hothead. The store shouldn't have taken an order and a customer's money and then attempted to get away without at least refunding that money, and should have understood why that would make the customers upset regardless of the whole back and forth about the other stuff. And OP shouldn't have claimed to know the law when they apparently didn't at all, or, let's be honest, return to a location they were trespassed from in the first place. But if OP does feel that this was a discrimination thing, a question that would be solved if we'd just been able to hear someone's explanation for how the quitting thing went, it's entirely within her rights to sue her former employer for discrimination and make that case to a judge. Well, it appears that OP and her mom are done making videos about this story. I'll keep an eye on their TikTok and the news to see if anything new develops, and I'll tell you, obviously, if it does. Anyway, that's our story for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show and found some clarity in this mess. See ya!